6 years ago, David Lynch had this idea to establish a foundation to provide TM to any child, any place in the world, if they wanted it. Bob told you earlier about 150,000 children from the Middle East to Africa, the United States, of course, Latin America, Asia, now transcendentally meditate, if that's a verb. But the foundation has grown beyond the children. You have just heard providing scholarships to veterans to learn how to meditate, American Indians living in poverty on reservations, homeless adults and children who are in reentry programs, as well as incarcerated adults and teenagers. So very widespread. David's been the driving force behind all of this. He's traveled around the world. He's talked in dozens of countries to hundreds of thousands of people. He wrote a book, and you should get it. I had to read it 3 times to understand it, but you should get it. It's called Catching the Big Fish, Meditation, Creativity, and Consciousness. He has directed and produced several films about TM and these programs. I don't know if you've ever watched some of the films he's produced, but he is an artistic genius, a hands-on philanthropist, a humanitarian. Please welcome David Lynch.
Candy, I'm kind of starstruck because I love you so much. I'm used to seeing you on television.
Well, and I'm used to watching you. I have a fun story to tell you about it, but I want to ask you first just about the foundation, because this was a dream of yours. Where do you think you are now in the building of it? What do you envision for the future and your participation in it?
Well, as you heard, it was started about 5 or 6 years ago. And it was, the foundation is to raise money to get transcendental meditation to any student, really any human being who wants it anywhere in the world. And as you've also heard, this simple technique is so magical. Maharishi Mahesh Yogi started teaching this over 55 years ago. And he started in India. And he taught this technique all around the world. 10 times he went around, teaching, teaching, teaching. And there have been 500 or 600 studies. He wanted this technique attacked from every angle and researched. And there's never been a study that shows anything negative about it, and studies hundreds, thousands of benefits from practicing this. And I'm just saying, I am personally sick of research studies. I want to get it to the people. I want to get it to the people. I love Serena and I love Norman for doing these research studies. And what they're going to find, they can test 5 people, they can test 500, they can test 5,000, and it'll be the same. If you're a human being, this technique will work. And your life will, as the soldiers said, get better and better and better. As the students said, it'll get better and better and better. You get a key, and this key opens the door to the treasury within. If being quiet for 20 minutes would do it, you know, it would be a done deal. We'd all be enlightened. We'd all be super happy. It would be great. It's a special, very special, unique technique, a key that takes you to the deepest level of life. You transcend. That's why Norman's book is called Transcendence. This is the big ocean of pure bliss consciousness. This experience of transcending is the experience that's missing from our lives. Just add that. Just add that. You got it made. You got it made.
So I have a quick story to tell you, and that is that Bob Roth taught me how to meditate. And we had a sort of this introductory session where he said, well, tell me what you're worried about and tell me what you think might happen. Do you have any questions? And I said, you know, I'm not sure I want to mellow out. I mean, I like, you know, I want to, you know, I'm in journalism. I want to keep my creative edge. I don't want to be all zen my whole life. And so Bobby says, hang on one second. He brings out his cell phone and he, you know, dials and goes, so David, are you meditating? And David says, just getting ready to. And he says, so I got Candy here. She wants to know if you're going to lose, if she'll lose her creative edge if she meditates. And it dawned on me that he was talking to David Lynch. I'm thinking, okay. So we're now asking the guy who did Blue Velvet, Twin Peaks, Mulholland Drive, whether I'm going to lose my creative edge. So that sort of answered the question for me. But what brought you to it? And you did this before you made, I mean, you started TM before you made any of those.
Yes. I was working on my film Eraserhead when I started Transcendental Meditation. And I always say, artists, you know, all I really wanted to do was first paint and then make films. And I thought meditation, when I heard about it first, I thought it was a total waste of time. People sitting with their eyes closed, not for me, I want to work. But I had no idea what they were doing with those eyes closed. I heard a phrase, true happiness lies within, not out there, and it had a ring of truth to it. Then one day the penny dropped and I thought, well, maybe meditation is the way to go within. Then I find out there's 10,000 forms of meditation. And like they say, everybody loves their form of meditation. But honestly and truly, if somebody took away transcendental meditation, I would not know what form to go to get the same thing. They're different. And as Dr. Fred Travis told you, and artists, they want to keep their edge. And they think they like, I thought this, a little bit of suffering, some melancholy, some anger, and like this. And I think, as I say, it started in France, which I love the French, but the starving artist in the garret. And the starving artist, this is it's very romantic because you can get girls. And so the girls come and they say, oh, may I maybe cook you some dinner? And maybe I'll spend the night. So this works very good. But if the artist was really suffering, really and truly suffering, like I said, if you have a splitting headache, you have nausea, and you have diarrhea on top of that, how much work are you going to get done and how much are you going to enjoy it? And this thing of depression and sorrow and anxiety and post-traumatic stress disorder and all this fear and anger, this is the enemy to creativity. Artists want ideas, they want energy, and you know, they want happiness, really. Just like to get up and boogie and create. It's beautiful. And this thing of negativity is truly the enemy to creativity.
And what would your life, imagine your life for me over the past 40 years without TM?
I've been meditating every day, so I don't know what it would be like, but I think, I'm pretty sure, I don't know what it would be like, but I'm very, very happy I'm meditating. And I think there's many, many, many creative people that don't meditate. And I always say, they're just going to get more creative. There's many happy people. They're just going to get more happy. And that each human being has a full potential, each one of us. And they say this full potential is called enlightenment. And we don't hear about this. Candy may start talking about it on the news, but we don't hear too much about this. But we do have a full potential. And this full potential flowers by transcending. And higher states of consciousness can come. So much happiness, so many beautiful experiences we have in our future. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Just get this technique and stay regular.
And let me go at it a slightly different way, because people always say to me when they find out that I meditate, what does it do for you? And I find, even for a writer, that I can't quite put it in a capsule. Can you?
The main thing, I think, what it does is it brings happiness. It brings happiness. And the world starts looking better and better. And there's an analogy. If you're wearing dark green, filthy glasses, this is your world. And if you get a technique whereby you can clean those and make them rose-colored or gold-colored, then that becomes your world. And it seems like the picture gets bigger and bigger and bigger. People start looking more and more familiar, nicer to see. The feeling inside, you don't mind, you feel better and better in your body. As you've heard, you know, and things that used to drive you crazy don't drive you so crazy anymore. But I still, as my wife Emily will tell you, get cut off in traffic. I'll go totally ballistic.
Yeah.
But you're laughing the next second. You can't hold on to anger so much anymore. You can't hold on to sorrow. You can get very sorrowful, but you can't hold on to it. You can get really angry. Next second, you just feel it just goes. It doesn't eat you up. And life just gets more fun. Everything gets more fun. Everything gets more fun. And they say we're supposed to be happy. We're not supposed to suffer. We're not supposed to suffer. There's so much suffering, but it's not natural. It's natural to be happy. It's so beautiful.
I agree with you. When Dr. Rosenthal said he doesn't get mad at the guy that cuts him off, I'm thinking, whoa, I am not there yet.
No. And I bet you if we went driving with Norman, we might see a different story. But he'd be laughing like he is now next moment.
Do people approach you about TM and say,
women approach me.
Oh. I mean, do you find that because I find people say, well, something's different about you. Of course, you've been doing it for 40 years, so nothing's different about you, you know, from then. But that people do come and say to me, you know, tell me about this. What does it bring you? Do you find that happens to you?
Yes. And, you know, like they say, it's true. When you start meditating, the change, you don't feel so different. It's so natural, the lifting of these things, the gold coming in, the garbage going out. It's so natural. Other people see it before really you. They notice these things. Like I say, I had this anger, which I take out on my first wife and really make her life hell. And I make her life hell, especially in the morning. 2 weeks after I start meditation, she comes to me and she says, what's going on? And as I say, I was quiet for a while because it could have been any number of things she might have been referring to. Then I said, what do you mean? I said, what do you mean? And she said, this anger, where did it go? And I really didn't realize till she said it. I wasn't angry inside anymore. It was so beautiful. It just lifted away. I didn't try. You can try to be good maybe for a day or a week, but then, you know, something happens and you just can't do it anymore.
And my final question, because
Bobby
is lurking over there. I'm getting the evil eye.
But it has been a good evening. Don't you agree?
It's a little bit of a scientific question, which you can beg off of if you want. But are there people I get people all the time saying to me, oh, it wouldn't work for me. I couldn't do that. I couldn't sit still. I couldn't do that. Are there people who are immune to the benefits of TM?
No. Like I said, if you're a human being, there's so many people. Just last night, our friend, he's very interested in starting. And he said, but it will never work. It'll never work. And he was almost apologizing for being maybe one of the first failures. And he knew he was going to fail. Like Bobby said, you do not have to believe it will work and it'll work. You can be so afraid it won't work and it will work. It's a magical thing. You need a legitimate teacher. It takes about 4 days, about an hour a day. then you have this technique for yourself for the rest of your life. And it is easy, effortless, and supremely profound. If it was very difficult, it would never go in schools. It would never help the children. It's so beautiful to see this torment inside of people and all these things on the surface. It doesn't take that torment away. Pretty pictures, nice talk, even some very, very nice kissing. It doesn't do it. It doesn't address the torment inside. Einstein said, if you want to solve a problem, you got to solve it from underneath the problem. You can't get deeper than the transcendent. Modern science's unified field. It's there, always been there. It's ancient technology. It will get you there. Up it comes, a brand new ball game. Life gets better and better and better.
David Lynch, I lied. When's your next project?
I don't know, Candy, but I'm going to be watching for you on television.
It's a deal.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Candy.
You've done